Hello, my friends from around the world. I'm so excited to tell you that this is Daily Nuggets Podcast. Woo-hoo, number 2. Yes, today I'm excited to introduce to you my friend, Mr. Floyd. He's going to tell you more about himself in a minute. You know me already, of course, I hope. My name is Emilio Bywaters, and I'm from Houston, Texas, the founder of Daily Nuggets, a program that motivates. We're here to motivate each other. We learn from each other. I don't have the answers to everything. Of course not. Nobody does. So we're here to learn. I'm going to learn from him. He's going to learn from me. So this is our podcast. Today we're going to talk to Mr. Floyd Harris, right? Okay. And then we will talk to you about some of the topic, well actually the main topic in July, which is toxic relationship. I'm gonna ask Mr. Floyd from his angle what he understands toxic relationships are and how to avoid them. Mr. Floyd, why don't you tell us a little more about yourself?
Well, I am a teacher. I'm from the U.S. I graduated with my education degree. I taught in Chicago public schools for like over 20 years. And then later in life, I needed a change. I wanted to try something new. I saw it advertised in the newspaper, come to China for free. We'll fly you to Beijing, actually, where we are now. I said, well, why not just jump on a plane and just come to Beijing? So free of charge. So once I got here, I was in a training center. And I did that for 1 year, and I loved it. I fell in love with the culture. I fell in love with the cost of living, which is low. I could save money. Like I could never do that in Chicago because it's so expensive. So I really, really enjoyed my time. And then I wanted to get out the training center and get into more a traditional school, an international school, where I can have the weekends off and enjoy the weekends even more in China, experience the culture more. So I moved to Suzhou, where I taught for like 4 years. I was at international high school. I taught English, AP, literature, ESL at the middle school level and at the high school level.
It appears to me you really like the city of Suzhou.
Oh, it is a beautiful city with many lakes. It kind of reminds me of Chicago. I grew up near Lake Michigan, and it has a beautiful skyline. And so Suzhou has that too. I love the water. There's something calming and peaceful about just being around water. So it makes me less homesick. Suzhou did because of the many lakes and the wonderful gardens and parks. So it's a slower pace. It's not like fast paced like New York or Shanghai. So Suzhou has like a calming and a lot of nature. So it's real like slow pace and beautiful. So yeah, I do. Suzhou has a special heart in my place, and it's where I stayed the longest. I was there for almost 4 years actually.
What is this thing that I see on social media about friends of Suzhou or something you guys do there? Is it like a social gathering that you?
Well, there's several social gatherings on different WeChat groups where we try to get together. A friend of mine, she has it's called Finland Home Cafe. So she hosts something every Friday. People come. She teaches English corner. Her husband plays the bongos. He's a musician, and he actually he passes out bongos, and we practice together every Friday. So Suzhou is a great close knit kind of community, and we try to interact with each other and share events and things like that. And we try to support each other. So it was actually a very communal type atmosphere in Suzhou.
When you first came to China, I want you to tell me some of those moments that you were like, oh no, not this, or what were your happiest moment, or what kind of positive things do you see here in China that you just love? And what are some of those things that you miss about America? I miss popcorn with salt and a lot of butter. I haven't seen it. All the popcorn in the movie theaters have sugar in them. Have you seen popcorn with salt here?
No, rarely. So I do miss that. I miss really good pizza, of course. I'm from Chicago. The food I miss a lot. And then, but one thing I had to get used to is my students was, well, I was a little bit fatter. So they would, and the students here are real honest. They would say, "Oh, Mr. Floyd, you're fat." I'm like, but that would never happen in the U.S.
Yeah.
So, but that motivated me. I said I had to lose weight, so I've been losing weight. So I still don't call me fat anymore. So, but yeah, I love the fact that the students here are very real polite. They really want to learn. The parents seem to invest a lot in the child's education with the training centers and the, well, sometimes I feel sorry for the students because they spend so much time with school, after school programs, weekend programs. But I do like the fact that the students, the parents really take the initiative to encourage the students to take it serious, and the students seem to take it serious. What shocked me when I first arrived and I was teaching, I called on a student and they stood up and said my name and answered the question and I almost asked permission to sit back down. I was like, oh wow, that's so totally different from Chicago. If I call on a student in Chicago, they might look at me like, why are you calling on me or anything, give me an attitude, but not in China. So it's been refreshing to teach students that are motivated. But like you said before, no matter whether you're in China or America, if you're a good teacher, you're engaging, you can always keep the students engaged. And it's been easy, since I can keep my students in America engaged, it's very easy to keep the students here in China engaged. So I never have really discipline problems or management problems because students want to be engaged and they want to know that you care. And I can tell from talking to you earlier that you care and you really care about your students. I try to show my students I care about them. I want to know about their weekends. I want to know about their hobbies. I want to know about their interests, everything. So it's good to have students that you can connect with. And that's why I like teaching the older students, like the high school and middle school, because you can have those like connections and deeper conversations.
You mentioned you lost weight. What is your secret? What are you doing? Come on, share it for the rest of us.
Well, I do things that I like. I like walking near, like I mentioned, I love water, so I find a lake or a canal, and I go walking around it. And I wait till the evening when it cools off. I go for a bike ride. I try not to be so dependent on my Didi and just taking a taxi. Basically, I try to walk. Even if it's 30 minutes, I walk to the place. So I try to cut down on taking the train. Or if it's only 20 or 30 minutes away, or even if it's 40 minutes away, I would just walk.
So you basically increase your physical activity.
Physical activity.
What about diet-wise?
I try to eat more fruit and more vegetables, and so I will maybe have one meal, one breakfast, and then for lunch I will just have fruit, and then for dinner and I'll try to eat dinner a little bit earlier, like around 5 or 6, so I can kind of walk it off. So I don't eat so much at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, but I try to eat early, and then if I get hungry, I just eat some fruit or vegetables or a snack.
Oh, so you basically do 3 meals a day.
Right. Well, but my second meal, my lunch is usually very light. Yeah.
Have you ever heard of that intermittent diet?
No, what's that?
Well, I don't know much about it. I'm still learning, but it's like the 16-8 hours. So you eat. That's one example. You eat within an 8-hour window, and then for the remaining 16 hours, you don't eat anything at all. So you just time yourself like that.
Oh.
Yeah. You can even eat 1 meal a day. And what about fasting? Is that something you've ever tried?
Yeah, I've tried fasting, and it's difficult. That's why I usually drink a lot of water. Well, I heard green tea. I usually try to drink green tea will curb your appetite, so you're not as hungry. So I've tried fasting. It works.
Green tea doesn't work for me because it makes my palpitation. Because of the caffeine in the green tea, I don't like that. So, Mr. Floyd, talk to me about your passion in life. What is it?
Well, I discovered a couple of passions since I've been here in China. During COVID, we had a lot of time for self-reflection. I was isolated from my students. I'm a people person, so being isolated and not being able to face-to-face interact with my students, I had a lot of time to think, well, I didn't want to just, you can get sad or you can get depressed. I was like, how can I connect with other people? And I know other educators had to be experiencing the same thing, so I started the WeChat groups that we Multi-groups is something here where it's like social media. You can pay bills, but you also connect with people. You can form groups up to 500 people. So I started one group. I wanted to connect educators and innovators actually too, because as educators we are innovators, but also too as teachers we want to connect with other people in different fields. So that way we can keep abreast of what's happening, the latest technology, and also so we can share that with our students. So I started forming this group, and it was powerful. People were sharing their resources, and with a collective, people were asking questions, and I was like, well, let's ask the group. And then as the group grew, more and more knowledge, people could share information, and then all of a sudden people started sharing job resources and things like that. So that is how. That is one passion I really developed here, connecting with people, forming this group, and then it started me just helping people find jobs. So now I went into that direction, trying to help teachers find teaching jobs.
Speaking of jobs, talk to me about your job satisfaction here in China and what your plans are. You in the future, do you plan to stay in China for a long time? Do you have plans to go back to America and deal with our students over there?
Okay. Well, before I answer that question, I wanted to touch upon something that's a kind of little sensitive subject here. People ask me, how is teaching in China? Is it difficult being black, teaching in China? And a lot of times when I was looking for jobs, I would see job ads saying European preferred, or even worse than that, maybe just white skin preferred. And when I would see that, I would get a little frustrated. And I took it upon myself with these groups that I have. I said, well, I would have agents come on, but they cannot use that type of biased language. So that felt very empowering. And then the members of my WeChat groups really embraced that idea. And they would even police it. And they saw an agent post something that was a little biased, they would immediately step in. And I wanted to empower people of color to realize that there's great opportunities here. There might be some obstacles, you may face some biases, but there's plenty of opportunities, good jobs, there's a way to make a good living. The cost of living is low, so I also try to share my lifestyle with people so they can see that it is a good place where you can come, you can teach, your passion for teaching, you can explore other things like we both do, and you can also you can save money and do those things that you want to, and travel and see the world and explore the culture here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So right now what I'm doing is I'm venturing into the recruitment area more. So the new job I have is with a large school that has over 25 schools in China. So I will teach with them, but also I will help with the recruitment. So I will help everyone hopefully have an avenue to get into a good school and provide people a way to pursue their dreams. So having income is a way that we need.
How much teaching will you be doing and how much recruiting, do you know?
Well, right now I will be teaching, but then there are 3 or 4 job fairs that I would go to throughout the year, and then winter breaks and summer breaks I will go back to the United States.
Yeah, hook me up with that job too. I want to be a recruiter too.
Right.
Well, are they going to send you back to the States?
Yeah, in the summer and winter time, I will go back to the States. I have some connections at different universities.
All expenses paid.
That's negotiable. We'll see.
All right, you don't want to let the cats out of the bag.
I'm hoping that will be in the package, but I'm hoping so in the winter time and winter break in February or January, for those 3 weeks, I will go back to the States. I see my family, but also I will conduct in business and try to recruit teachers and give more people, just open up more people's eyes to the fact that China is a good place to come to teach. If you want to teach for 1 or 2 years, save money, you go back to your hometown, you can. Or if you want to stay and extend and stay here more on a long term, it's a good place too.
You said you are the people person. That brings us to the topic of relationships. In particular, toxic relationship. This is not a Webster's dictionary. This is coming from Floyd's heart, from Floyd's experience. Can you tell the viewers what you feel is considered as a toxic relationship?
Well, I feel like when someone isn't happy with their lives, misery loves company. So if someone's miserable with their own lives, they're not following their dreams, they can be miserable. They try to make you miserable. So I like to be around people that are pursuing their dreams, they aren't just going to work and coming back, but they're pursuing their passion, whether it's exercising, whether it's painting, so that it seems like they have full lives. So happy people are people I like to be around. If someone's toxic, it's probably because they're just not happy with their lives. And if they see you happy, they want you to be miserable. And if you're doing something different, you're doing something inventive, you're doing something that takes courage, they're there wanting to make you scared and make you doubt yourself. So I try to avoid those people as much as possible. And I try to pursue my dreams, and I try to surround myself with people like yourself that are pursuing their dreams. And it takes a lot of courage to pursue your dreams. And you want to be around people that feel the same way, because you already are kind of doubting yourself because what you're doing takes courage. So you want to be around people that are also courageous and taking risks.
Okay, so this month, again, Daily Nuggets is focusing on toxic relationship. So Floyd, you saying to you, a toxic relationship is really a reflection of what that person is, meaning the misery side of them is what comes out.
Right.
And therefore, at the receiving end, we receive that toxicity, whatever the word is.
Right. Well, a lot of people are looking for someone to blame. They're miserable, especially in a close relationship. If you're with someone and they're not happy with your life, they don't want to lash out. They don't want to do maybe the hard work or the self-reflection. But what are you doing to make yourself miserable? Maybe you're not pursuing your dreams, but instead of that, they want to lash out at what you're doing or try to find everything wrong at what you're doing because it's easier. It's easier to criticize someone else than actually criticize yourself and then make that change. So I'm not happy because of whatever reason. That's hard. It's easy for me to sit back and say, oh, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. But that self-reflection and making that personal change and making yourself happy, it takes ownership, it takes accountability. A lot of people just don't want to do that.
So I guess there you're describing one way to know that you engage in a toxic relationship when you have the other person pointing fingers. The blame is you. When we're pointing this finger, one finger is pointing that way, but look how many fingers are coming back
Right.
at us. So instead of looking at the other person's eye and say you have something in your eye, look at your own eye. What are other ways for the person to really know, oh no, this relationship is definitely toxic? Can you think of other ways?
Yeah, I think the simple, does this person make you want to be or make you a better person? Do they bring out the best in you? Do they, by the words of encouragement, also by their own lives, are they doing things that impress you, that you step back and say, wow, that's really great. I didn't think of that, or wow, I should step up and do more of what they're doing. They have really good habits. They get up every time and they meditate in the morning, or they eat right. Is their life an example that you could follow and you want to emulate in some capacity?
Okay, so Floyd, so let's say a person determined already, they already noticed that, oh, this relationship I'm involved in is definitely toxic. How does a person communicate to the other person? Do they just go to the person and say, we are involved in a toxic relationship, so it's time to make this quit? Or do you think the best way is to just back away silently? How should people communicate when either one or both parties notice that the relationship is toxic?
It depends on the nature of the relationship. If it's a committed relationship and you know that it's a committed relationship and you invested a lot of time in it, you may want to encourage to go to counseling together. You may want to really sit down and really try to address the problem. You may want to try different things so you can, because you already invested whatever, a year or a couple of months or 6 or 7 months or 2 years, in some certain situations. So you already have a lot of time invested. you want to work it out if you possibly can. So whatever it is, counseling or a mutual friend that can see both sides, that you kind of trust, you just try everything with that because you want to salvage that. There's something good in that if you invest that much time. And when you have family, you can't get away from your family if it's toxic. So you definitely want to try everything you can to try to make the family situation work. But if it's someone you just a casual friend that's negative, then you can just cut that person out of your life and be done with it. You know, you may talk to them a little bit, but you don't have to really pursue to try. You don't try to change anyone. If that's who they are toxic, then you can just let them go.
Do you think that culture plays a role in a person being toxic, or do you think who we are in terms of our family background, where we came from, how much influence do you see that in guiding, maybe not guiding, but being at the bottom of why some people are toxic? What do you think in your opinion?
I think it's more family, the upbringing, and it's a personal choice too. I mean, a person has to choose to want to be a positive person and a person that encourages others. So I think it's more family. I think culture could be just that's a difficult because someone could have you could think someone is like toxic, but it's just their culture is the way they view the world. You know, you might meet someone who, because of their culture, they expect the man to pay for everything. So, but that's part of the culture. It doesn't mean that that this is a toxic woman. It's just that that's their cultural background. That is what the man does in their culture. So you have to kind of know that person's culture in order to know if they are being toxic or they being. But if it's culture, you just have to really know and try to understand and be acceptable, like to listen to them and get to know them and know their culture.
When it comes to toxic relationship, narcissistic people, narcissism is also one of those toxic traits. Have you ever encountered that in your life, like dealing with people that have that kind of tendency?
Yeah. Well, a lot of that behavior has come from insecurity. Someone, a narcissist, they are trying to make themselves bigger than they are, and they're not confident and sure of themselves. So I try, like you said, I try to get people that are happy with themselves, happy with what they're doing in their life, happy with the path that they're on. So those are the people I try to surround myself with, because then you're gonna avoid some of that people that are really insecure and they wanted to just be over, like brag all the time about their accomplishments. I want to be around people that their actions speak louder than words. I can look at your life and say, wow, that's someone that's impressive. You don't have to tell me you're impressive. I can see it. I can see someone that is accomplishing things. I can see someone that's on the right path and doing things with their life. You don't have to tell me any of that. I can see it.
That's interesting. You mentioned this narcissism is they try to make themselves bigger than what they are, basically to always prove a point. Yeah. But let's go a little on the positive side of it.
Okay.
And talk to me about your projects on how because you and I pretty much do some of the same things, motivating people. So I want to hear more about your project now.
Well, I started with I had this one group, the One Root Chat group, and I wanted to grow the group, and I wanted to encourage more people to connect with others. So I held a contest, and the people that can get the most people to join my group, I would give them 1,000 RMB. So I held it for the first 3 to get 100 members added, and then to my surprise, I had one group that was maybe at 200. And then in the end, I had 3 groups, almost 500 people. And so one was educated and innovative, with teachers would connect with each other, would share resources. Then one was another group called SHS, with Shanghai, Hangzhou, and Suzhou, my 3 favorite cities. And
I'm not in that group.
Oh, you should. Well, this group is for like sharing like professional development for teachers. We should keep growing our teachers. and also too is to connect teachers with agents that are going to be responsible and not use biased language. So to help everyone, native, non-native, everyone to get a job, an opportunity for a job, at least for an interview and things like that. And then I have understanding law and culture, another group. Now it's like maybe around 400 in that group, and it is for foreigners, for expats. When we come to China, I think to make it easier to transition, understanding the law and understanding culture is very important, and also learning Chinese, which I should do, is also important. So this group is emphasis on teaching expats about the culture and about the laws, because as teachers, sometimes we get in an issue with the school. So knowing the law is very important. Knowing our rights is very important, and also trying to understand the culture makes it easier for teachers to fit in, and then understanding the language and everything also makes it easier for foreigners or expats to really fit in.
Who is your role model, Floyd? Because behind every person that wants to motivate others, in my humble opinion, there's usually somebody there that you maybe have watched, observed, or someone that influenced you indirectly, you may not even be aware of. Why is Floyd the kind of person that wants to help others today? Where did this come from?
Oh, well, both my parents, my mother and father, were teachers. So I grew up in a household with both.
Are they still alive?
Oh, no, unfortunately not. During the COVID time, my father passed with complications, which was like 2.5 years ago. And then my mom, it's been a while, she passed a long time ago. So, but they both really impacted me, and both made me want to teach. So at an early age, I was going to their schools, volunteering to teach. And I knew that was my calling. I like to help people. I like to learn new things. I like to stimulate students to also not just learn for now, but to become lifelong learners. So I share my books with my students, or share my interests with my students. So hopefully to cultivate that interest that they love to learn. I love to learn, and I want to share with my students just the joy that comes from learning new things.
Have you ever dreamed of writing a book one day?
Oh, yes, I write poetry, and also, speaking of being creative, I do comedy. I attempt to do comedy. I've tried it several times. I've done it in studio, and I've done it recently in Shanghai. And I just reached out to some comedians in Beijing, so I'm hoping to do a couple open mics in Beijing. And I have a friend who thinks I'm funny, and we did shows in studio. He's in Thailand, so I'm supposed to be going over to Thailand to actually perform comedy. So I'm looking to branch into that, and because comedy is writing, you have to write out the jokes, and I always try to put some social commentary in my jokes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mr. Floyd, a man of wears many hats, a teacher, a motivator for the most part, and now adding to that, a recruiter.
And a comedian.
And a comedian, yes, and
Yeah.
a comedian.
All right.
Yeah, so the next podcast we will do on Daily Nuggets, it will be you doing your comedy. You going to pretend you're performing in front of an audience. Is that a deal?
I will work on it. I'll work on it.
He shook on it, so he will come back
All right,
and
all
do
right.
his comedy here.
Okay.
And you, my people, will be the audience. So thank you so much for joining the show. I am Amelia Bywaters, the founder of Daily Nuggets, with our wonderful friend today, Mr. Floyd, who has now become family. Yes.
Oh, I didn't mention that. I also do some modeling and do commercials. Yeah, so.
Wow, modeling,
Yeah.
commercials.
Yeah.
Did you do that also in Chicago?
Yes, actually I did a little bit, but I've done it mostly in China, in Hangzhou.
Nice. Thank you guys for tuning in. And if you want to reach Mr. Floyd, can you tell us how they can reach you, my audience? Do you have a WeChat?
Oh, my WeChat is very simple. Floyd Harris WeChat. And I would love to add you to my WeChat groups, and I will be producing more content for my WeChat channel. So tune in for that. And I will be working on my YouTube channel. So tune in for that, and TikTok and Billy and all that. So tune in for more to come from me. And a wonderful partnership I have with Ms. Bywaters. We're going to produce some content together. So tune in.
But what about our international viewers? Where can they reach you?
Oh, YouTube. I will be establishing YouTube very soon, and then they'll be able to reach me. And I will contact. I have a Facebook, and I will share that with my viewers on Facebook, and then hopefully they will transition to YouTube.
So you do have a Facebook account?
Yes.
Okay. Do you mind sharing that, because our people back home can?
You could just say Floyd Harris, Chicago. You put Floyd Harris, Chicago, and you should see my photo, and hopefully you can click on that and find me that way.
Because I was going to say, we are 10 million Floyd
Harris. Yes, we do. Floyd Harris, Chicago, and you should see my photo.
Thank you so much, my friend.
All right.
Thank you.
All
Nice
right.
interviewing you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.